Hi sewing friends, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Beth. If you're new, welcome. This beautiful block here is from an old quilt book called Mrs. Keller's 9-Patch. I have fun with these old quilt books that I find at the thrift store frequently, and I look through and I find blocks that I like and I try to reproduce them with fabric. Here are the 2.5-inch squares. I need 5 of that cute bird fabric and 4 of the dark blue. I also need some background strips. These are 2.5 by 6.5 inches. I need 4 of these and to surround the 9-patch. And then I need 8 of these mustard colored squares, 2.5 inches. I also need some 3-inch squares, 2 each of the background fabric and 2 of that mustard gold color. So after I had all of my pieces cut out, I started by putting my 9-patch together using the 2.5-inch squares. All right, the center of my block is complete, and now I'll be adding some triangle corners to these strips. So I'll put right sides together and I'll be drawing a line from corner to corner, and it should look like this. After I sew down the pencil line, I will open that up and make sure that it covers that triangular area, and then I'll cut away the excess, and I'll do that on both ends of all 4 strips. Now I need to make some half square triangles for the corners of my block, and I'll put right sides together. I'll draw a pencil line again through the center, but this time I'm going to put a seam on both sides of that pencil line, and it's a 1/4 inch seam, sometimes just a little shy of a 1/4 inch, and after putting those 2 seams in, I will cut along the pencil line, open up these half square triangles, and trim them all to 2.5 inches. I'm going to sew my block together in rows. That top row includes those half square triangles and that strip with the triangles on the ends, and the second row has that 9 patch in the center. And then once I have all 3 rows together, I will sew the rows together, trying to make sure that the seams kind of go in opposite directions. I use a 1/4 inch seam. I don't worry too much about which direction my seams are going. It's always best if your darker fabric is not on the white fabric. You know, you don't press towards the lighter fabric, you always press towards the darker fabric. It doesn't always work out. You're not always able to make things come out smooth, and the dark fabric sometimes does have to kind of hide behind that lighter fabric. But most of the time you can get it going in the right direction. And then I will try to get my seams to go opposite directions when I sew this together. When I come to a seam, I want the seams to be going different directions so that they can kind of nestle together. And before you know it, I have a quilt block. This is a really pretty quilt block. It measures 10.5 inches before putting it into a quilt. Here's an idea what it might look like with some sashing. Really pretty. I think it would be even better if all these blocks are just a little bit different to make a scrappy quilt. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time.